just like to thank everybody for coming. It's a tribute to my father that you all knew him in one respect or another. But like my brother John and the rest of our family, I have fond memories of my dad. For a start, he always called me Joyce Darling, and I grew up thinking that my surname was actually Darling. And growing up with him was an absolute pleasure, because out of all of our family, I was the only girl, so I got away with absolutely everything. Except one day he chastised me when he sent me to the shops, and I chose to go and skylarked with my friend and came home and told my dad, of course I'd gone straight to the shops and came straight home. But unknown to me, he was watching me from the front room window and saw everything that I did. As you perhaps know, my dad was never shy with telling you his opinions, and he had plenty of those, and he wasn't afraid to let you know them. He had other sides to him as well. He taught me to play bingo, so much so that I can now hold 6 full cards at length all at once. He taught me to waltz, and he taught me the dangers of kissing boys. But the biggest joy that he had in his life was his horse racing. And boy did he love racing. I was fortunate enough to share this with him when I was very fortunate to go to Ascot twice. And both times I had Dad on the phone telling me what horses to back. He studied the form at home. I would call him at the start of betting and say, Dad, who do I bet? Who do I bet on? And he said, who's the jockey? And I said, so-and-so was the jockey. He said, okay, bet on him, because he likes hard ground. And I'd say, what? The horse? He said, no, the jockey. Back on him, he knows what he's talking about. So for all of you out there, that's a tip for you, back on the jockey, okay, not the horse. I didn't make my fortune on those 2 occasions, but I did come home with a tiny bit more than I bet, so that's a result. Although my mother and my dad divorced when I was quite young, Dad and I never ever lost touch. He gave me away at my wedding, he gave my brother away at his wedding. And then, shock horror, my then fiancé had to go and ask my father for my hand. It would not have been able to have gone ahead without my father's blessing. But his eulogy would not be complete without a little history about him. My dad was born Ishmael Emmanuel Gregory, son of Emira and Daniel Gregory, on the 18th of July in 1922 in the parish of St. Catherine, Jamaica. As a boy, he was bright and polite, and as all good children did at that time, attended church with his mother, the local Baptist church. And at the age of 4, he was called upon to sing and recite too many letters. Recitation, that's the word. Which all of you all know. And many a time he would be given an encore and applause and asked to do it again, which he duly obliged. He was then sent to infant and primary school at the age of 9 to Kingston to live with his elder sister Myrtle. She arranged his schooling at Eccleston Road Secondary School, and at the age of 11, Myrtle thought that he should have a trade, so she sent him to be a mason's apprentice. And Dad loved it. He served for 5 years, and at that time started to earn a wage of 17 shillings and 6pence. He then met my mother, Frederica Antoinette Ray. He was 24, she was 23. They got married when they were both 25 and 24, so a very short courtship, in 1947. Dad was employed at that time by Kingston St. Andrew Corporation in the Public Works Department, and he ran the, he was a mason while Mum ran a shop. In 1953, my mother decided to come to England. My dad later joined her, approximately 6 to 7 years later. In total, they were married for 30 years and they cherished John and myself. They divorced in 1976 and my mum unfortunately died in 1983, leaving her loving family behind. My dad then remarried in 1990 after moving from New York to Nottingham to a beautiful, beautiful lady called Daphne Valentine. On the 15th of December at Mansfield Baptist Church, and we all gained a further 9 brothers and sisters who he loved and appreciated like his own. Throughout his life in Nottingham, he joined Fulwell Baptist Church here and refused to leave. He loved worshipping here with Reverend Richard Leeper and his congregation. My dad loved and worshipped God with a purity of heart and had continual praise for the wonders of the Lord. He wrote the following as part of his own eulogy, and it was a prayer. And it said, "I have lived a happy life, and I will die happy. How sweet the name of Jesus sounds in all believers' ears. It sweetens our sorrows, heals our worlds, and drives away our fears." I would like to take this opportunity to give a special thank you to 2 people who aren't here, but they will be joining us at the graveside, Sandra and Dave, my dad's neighbours for over 23 years. He looked upon them, they looked after him, and have been absolutely wonderful. And then a special person in my heart is Denver. He met my dad around 2005, and a lovely story. Saw my dad, because you know my dad was going blind, hobbling along and trying to make his way through snow. Denver looked upon this man and said, "Oh, I'll help him." Introduced himself, helped my dad to possibly go into booking, can't be sure, might have been church, might have been booking, and from then formed a friendship that has lasted all these years. Thanks to Denver, literally rescuing my father from the brink of death twice. Once when he collapsed, and another time when he hadn't heard from him for I think it was only a day, and decided to call and found Dad slumped. He'd had one of his mini strokes and rescued him. So to Denver, I give you special thanks. I'll now hand over to my brother John.